Hello. We are talking today with Oksana Vovchenko, the head of the club named after the great philosopher and politician Benjamin Franklin. This is a discussion club, and we are picking up one of the topics that have been discussed by this club. It's about the longevity of life, what it would be like to be a human who lives 500 years, what aspects it brings up to the longer lives. And I would like to ask Oksana to present her point, please.
Yeah, okay. Just let's imagine that humans live 500 years. Our lives are getting longer and longer. Even now, we live twice longer than our predators, for example. And just imagine that medicine and healthcare technology makes our lives 500 years long. How would change our relationship with friends, inside our families, our job preferences, economics, etc., any aspect of human lives?
I believe that, thank you. I believe that human is not, it's more like a concept, a changing concept, not the individual, but the concept. In different points of life, those individuals that we are, the same individual, can be very different. And the previous life actually shrinks into one-dimensional display before our eyes. Sometimes when we let our mind wander, it shows us pictures from different stages of our life, like it would be just on the same plane, one-dimensional. So it's not about like gaining the experience and becoming more wise and gaining more and more information. It's always the changing concept that will always come down, boil down to whatever this individual is thinking and feeling at this point of time when we check it. So it doesn't matter whether it's 20 years old, 50 years old, 100 years old, 500 years old. There is this limited capacity of this internal display where we see our experience, our life, and other stuff. And probably that's why sometimes older men and women say that they feel young. They feel that they didn't live, because no matter how long they live, everything shrinks down to a certain, I would say, interface. Like we cannot put too much through our display at the computer, doesn't matter how much things are inside. There is only certain amount of the information that you can reasonably place on the display and use it, right, on your desktop. And the same is with us. A lot of things are getting forgotten. A lot of parts of our life, we feel like it's not our life at all. It's like parts of the movie from different lives. We can act absolutely differently in the similar situations in different stages of our life. We can look different, very much different. Some even said, change their gender even, right? So talking about differences between younger and older people, there are not much difference. If you take away the despair because of imperfections of our world, the experience that nothing, whatever you do, will be ruined sooner or later, disappointment with any relationship, and if you take it away, and also you take away the physical illness and tiredness, so there's not much difference between a person 20 years old and 50 and 60 and 70 and 80. So what we call the wisdom of age is not quite the wisdom of age, it's just the burden of existence. So that's the approach that we should entertain in order not to think of that individual is always developing. Every next year he becomes smarter and more efficient. And if not the diseases and sicknesses and other stuff, he would be developing infinitely into superhuman, and older he would become, better it is. That's not the case. Again, what I'm saying is a person is a concept of the organization of the information, I would say. Even if we talk about ourselves as our bodies, there is no even one atom, the same atom that was within our body 7 years ago. There's no atom in our body now. So as a physical entity, we are not really physical entities. We're just the concepts that getting information and matter flowing through us. And we reorganize it at every single moment in a certain way. So what do you think?
Yes, I agree with you entirely. I think that we must think about a person not as a progress or development from point A to point B, but like a series of transformations, something like that. It's not about progress. And this topic, 500 years old man, is not about what would the development of a single person would achieve if I live 500 years. It's probably about possibilities for me. For example, just imagine space travel. They take a huge amount of time. They're very long. And they seem unachievable for us today. If I must to spend half of my life traveling across the space, I do not want to do that. But if comparing to the length of my life, it would take as today, for example, 1 day or 2-3 days, it's quite acceptable. What do you think about that? So that I can travel to Mars, for example, and come back, and it does not take half of my life or a 10th part of my life. It would be a few days, as nowadays, as holidays, to spend holidays, for example. What else we can achieve having this life expectancy, for example? What do you think?
We will be repeating ourselves most of the time. We will be doing same things all over again, in a good sense and in a bad sense. If it comes to the relationship, so we will be getting married not 3 times on average, but 20 times. But most of the times, it will be all the same old things, right? Because as much as I say that people change, they still have certain things that they carry on with them most of the time. As to the space travel, it's mostly illusional fairy tales, which are quite senseless. Space is a very hostile environment to life and human beings. It's not normal for humans to try to get to vacuum of space and to disconnect themselves from Earth. At some extremes, we have certain number of astronauts that do this for certain purposes. But mostly it's just a tale that people are supposed to go to distant planets and do the exploration, because it will always come down to the very hostile, in most of the cases, deadly, unproductive, and useless move to put human being with all those layers of protection into the alien environment. The temperature, the radiation, the contents of the atmosphere of other planets, they are quite random. To imagine that there is somewhere an exact copy of our Earth, it's quite implausible, especially our Earth, as we know from what geological scientists tell us and others, was quite different billions of years ago. We wouldn't be able to survive with it. They didn't have the same atmosphere, the temperatures were quite extreme, and so on and so on. That's why I always feel a deep disappointment when I look at Mars. It's lifeless, pretty much useless, deadly desert. The whole planet is deadly desert, okay? Or when I look at Moon, what a pitiful picture, right? There are same places on Earth that are quite useless for human beings and life. And the fact that some extremophiles, some bacteria can develop there doesn't mean that we need to place ourselves there with so much of discomfort. For example, those tourists that went with recent, I don't remember, it was Blue Horizons or something, their toilet was broken. Can you imagine this nice experience, paying tens of millions of dollars and that not able to use the toilet? And that's what happened. So I believe that everything that goes, this rant that goes about the space travel is quite a hoax. It's quite fake. We're just trying to extrapolate our travel practices on Earth when we conquered new continents, and yes, but we were coming to unbelievably resourceful and beautiful places on Earth. Like, yes, we were excited to come to new continents that were huge and full of different resources. And actually everywhere, almost everywhere other people live, we interacted with them. So there is nothing close what we can expect in space. And less knowledge people have about astronomy and odds of any useful outcome from space travel, more they prone to put it on the same plate with other exploits that might be interesting, but they're not. Like in most cases, it's very inconvenient, dangerous, and humiliating experience. Recently, two actors, one actor and one film producer, flew to space in Russia. A nice girl, her name is Yulia Persil. And I looked at her, and a nice lady with two little daughters allows to put herself squeezed in this little cockpit and then thrown up to space with huge rocket. It's crazy. All right, it's out, and also with our automation and ability to set the automatic cameras and other stuff makes human participation in this exploration useless. Then I have to say this profoundly heretic thing. For example, this Webb telescope that now is out there making amazing photographs of early universe. Scientists are so excited, but general public doesn't understand what they are so excited about. And scientists are not able to explain to general public what they're so excited about. Okay, so what is this? This is the picture. What's the picture of? The galaxies. Have you had the Hubble telescope making those pictures? Yes, but those are better. Okay, so what? How does it change lives of common people if we learn the content of the galaxies in the early universe if they themselves cannot distinguish asteroid from galaxy, doesn't have a clue what's going on in space and what it is and why, and so on and so on. I'm not saying that science shouldn't be developed, but I'm just saying that it should be in a certain proportion. Now, what do you think?
Yeah, I see that space perspective. It seems that they do not inspire you at all. But let's consider other aspects of if our life longevity will change. What else change? One issue which really bothers me is about aging. When aging starts? If I live half of my life being an old person in a bad physical shape, I do not want this long life.
Well, I suggest to take it out of the discussion because at the moment that we start feeling old, all our rest of the life is the survival and the attempt to fight our old age. And we will be defeated, no matter how hard we fight. When we're talking about the 500 years old man, we're not talking about the aging or medical aspects. We're talking about the pure question, what this person is supposed to do with himself? What's the point behind longer lives? Will he be more productive? Will he create certain things? And that's the question of the motivation. We are losing, even best of us, the geniuses, we still lose tons of time for nothing. Our productivity is very low. Even if you talk to Elon Musk, probably he will say, even he himself, who works 70 hours per week, would say that he's mostly spending his time for senseless and stupid things. That's the nature of human conditioned not to be that efficient. There are days that we don't want even to wake up. There are, or sometimes we are working very hard, but what we are working on is senseless and purposeless. And I like to say there are very few things in life worth doing. Very few. And until now, I didn't find which one they are.
Probably love. At least it is pleasant. What I also think about politics, just imagine what the politics will be like if people live so long. For example, now, at present, we say, okay, there are people who remember Soviet Union, but they will die soon. They will not keep these habits to Soviet Union very long. And the new generation can change things, can build new society, can bring new rules. And just imagine that those people remember, for example, Fascist Germany or Soviet Union or anything else live so very long. And they influence politics all the time.
Yeah,
What
yeah,
about
I agree
new
with you.
generation?
I completely agree. When the generation changes, everything changes. The trouble that we are in right now with the war in Ukraine, it has its roots in the Soviet generation, of course. But the problem is that the new generations, sometimes they are no better than the old ones. In some aspects, they are better, but in some aspects, they might be even worse. More pragmatic, less empathic to each other, and it's like each generation will bring their own problems, right? I wouldn't say that the generation is changing. What I can say about myself, I think it's an interesting example myself, because I'm moving with the generations to align myself to the new generations. Like very few things that I'm carrying from my background. If you look at my life is built more like a life of a teenager, relying on YouTube, business done on distance, not having assets. I'm just trying to adjust to the new life, and I'm moving with this change. I feel more close to the younger part of the society than to the older one. There are discrepancies. At my channel, you can see a lot of talks with young people. Yes, I support them in many ways, and share what they say, which is pragmatic and calculated, and doesn't have all those illusions of previous generations. But they have lost a lot, and I'm showing this in my talks to them about love, especially unconditional love, completely lost. A lot of things that were worthy for generations, for hundreds, if not thousands of years, seems to be lost completely. So I wouldn't say that there is a definite progress of they will bring their own problems. But yes, the old problems will move away, but they will bring look, when we look at the politicians, we don't like when old ones are governing. But we don't like when the young ones are doing it either. Young ones are doing as many stupid stuff. What I have to praise is your president, because whatever anybody is saying, his bravery as a person on this personal level, where the whole world wouldn't blame him for leaving the country under attack. Britain was inviting them, his family, and he would probably have enough money for the rest of his life. This act of bravery that he made, actually outstanding. And I think he has become a real historic figure that generations will be studying. Starting as a clown, that probably nobody would expect to be serious and determined. He has turned into a person that actually probably changed the course of history. Probably, yes. And nobody expected that. Probably he himself didn't expect that. So it will be very interesting study about this person. Of course, I wish that he keeps doing that properly and will not like cancel all the good things with anything that he might do in the future, which we have learned from the history. Very progressive and interesting leaders have turned early and did bad things that actually canceled out whatever. But this is an interesting example that right in front of our eyes, a huge drama of life of the individual who is turning from a clown to a real tragic leader of the nation. And I can't deny that. I can't deny that no matter what his reputation was before the war, nobody has taken him serious. And what's going on now, again, doesn't matter what are the reasons, or if he gets paid for every day he stays, or whatever the bad things might be said. No, he's risking his own life. He's standing for the cause. And it's amazing to see this person. He has opened completely different, and the same thing in a negative form we can say about Putin. If in the past we might have think of some positive things about him, yeah, we could have. He has completely canceled out anything with what he's doing right now. And that's another example of how people can change. Can we say that those things have been planned out right from the beginning? I'm not sure. People change. People do change. The problem when we say that people do not change, that's because they don't change in the direction we wish them to change. But they go bad many times. Otherwise, how do we get divorces all the time? We love the person loved us, and then all of a sudden, he's so bad that we don't want to do anything with this person. So yes, people change. So with 500 years, man, coming back to that, I don't know. The world is way worse than we think of it. We have learned to hide the ugly and show off the beautiful. We don't go to the toilet in public. We don't smell bad, we put the fragrances. We don't walk naked when we're not beautiful. And when we're beautiful, we don't walk naked either, not to provoke any sexual desires. So we have learned to make everything around us and ourselves as fake as possible to show more positive sides of existence rather than negative ones. And but it doesn't eliminate it. It doesn't eliminate the fact that physically we produce excrements, fecal masses about the same weight as we are in 3 months. So if anyone analyzes what these physical creatures do and doesn't understand our language, what we do, we eat good stuff and produce shit. Yeah, like if someone would be just looking at us, not learning our language or anything, just how we consume beautiful, biological, like you said, we cannot not eat each other. Creatures, beautiful cows, gorgeous chickens, fruits, beautiful fruits. And on the other end, we produce the waste, which is very repulsive. So I'm just trying to say that we are very good image makers, and behind those images, there is nothing. And our mind is capable of explaining anything and justifying anything, any atrocities, any killings, murders, whatever. And with such mind and with such inclination to show only the beautiful things and to hide the real things, we will get down to the 500 years man who will be just the same thing as 10 people living 10 lives. He will be indistinguishable from just 10 generations of other people. Especially look at me. I don't read books. I have eliminated my library. I don't live in the big house I used to live. I'm moving with whatever this generation is offering, okay? My personal habits have changed as well. And if I continue to live another 20 years and there will be new trends like transhuman, whatever, to put something in your head and become smarter or healthier, I will be doing the same thing. Reluctantly, but I will. So I would be almost indistinguishable from the previous generations. Well, I'm a good example of good adjustment because I believe that I am very rational and I tend to reflect a lot and find the most agreeable and reasonable ways to do things. But more or less, we're all like that. Like, look at all the people. They don't like it, but they use the smartphones. They don't like it, but they use emails, right? In their 70s and their 80s, most of them. So this change is coming. And I would say the connection, I don't know how your life was. I have changed a number of countries, a number of realities. And now when I'm trying to recall things, they completely feel like from episodes from lives of other persons. I don't feel that that was me. I don't feel the way how I might felt when I was there. First Soviet Union, then Israel for 10 years. Completely different mentality, different language. And when you speak different language, you start thinking differently. There are different sets. Like I used to tell when I was looking for the psychologist, and I found one Israeli psychologist, and I came and I explained my problem in Hebrew. It turned out that I do not have a problem. Because in the set of this culture, whatever I was complaining was nothing to complain about. That's the interesting thing. The same is in English. I'm different when I speak English. And so changing those different countries and has put me into, and also I have changed confessions. I was a half atheist, Jewish, and I became Christian, Orthodox, completely different, seclusive group of people, especially in the West. And then I was either thrown out or I just left myself, which is difficult to say, and living in another environment. So is it me? When I look at myself as a priest, is this me? Did I truly believe what I said back then? Yes, I did, but I'm very different now. Or is this me in Israel? Or this is me in Russia? No, I can't say that. I don't feel that. So my life is fractured. That's why I'm interested to discuss with those who live all their lives in the same place, but still, even living in the same place, a lot of things have changed. How the place look, the relationship between the people. It's like even those that didn't immigrate, they still have immigrated. Because like you say, with the space travel, we're all travelers in space and time. Like right now we sit on Earth, but Earth is moving around the sun with a speed of 30 kilometers per second. And the sun is moving around the center of our galaxy with a speed of 400,000 something, like huge speed. So we are changing our coordinates and we're changing our coordinates in time. So what I'm saying is it's quite useless to make someone's life 500 years or 1,000 years. Even if we could repair all those deficiencies connected to age. Also, for example, let's say 500 from now to the past, what would it be? It would be 1500, right? It would be the 16th century. How different was experience back then? We know quite little about it, and mostly we know it from the historians, that very corrupt individuals that base their conclusions on very corrupt sources, which is changed all the time, right? But with this imaginary virtual opportunities, we can create this virtual reality. We can submerge into some movies that recreate these times. We can go and live with Amish people that live here without electricity, they just use the candles. Or me, myself, when I became a priest, we were very backwards. Like we used candles a lot in the church. It's like it was stepping 200 years ago or even backwards. So what I'm saying is those experiences, they're easily replaceable, and they're not really, it doesn't really important whether you were with Columbus on their ships while they were going to the New World, or you just had this imaginary experience of doing so, which sooner or later will be very much available. How much it will be in coherence with the reality, nobody can say. Well, like I said, it's all very subjective, but those different experiences of different times. So it's quite useless. The world is imperfect. It's full of shit. We hide it, but somewhere deep in our heart, we know that. Even if you give yourself the looks of 20 years old girl, or me as a 30 years old boy, the younger and healthier us are prone to not less troubles. Dangerous sexual experiences, drugs, fights, like speeding, drinking, whatever the younger generations that have less health issues and more prone to different things like that, they will probably engage in those things again. Look at Faust, the philosopher, the old man. And when a devil is giving him the youth, he's just starting doing this stuff again, right? Getting engaged in all those troubles again, instead of using his youth to some scientific purposes no, he's just moving back to whatever he did as a young person. So I'm sorry to disappoint you with my point of view, but 500 years old man is no good idea.
I would not say that you have disappointed me, not at all. And, I thought about the same problem about self-identity. If it's possible to keep your self-identity during all lifelong 500 years. And I also thought that it was not possible. Perhaps it will be a life of many identities, not a life of one identity. We will live through this period many different lives and many different iterations. I also imagine like that. For me, it's not possible to keep your memories starting from 500 years ago and to continue to build your logic narrative every year. You will start new life every time.
Those who write down things.
If there's sense to have this long life, when nature created a great mechanics for renewal, we give birth to our children. There's a genius mechanic to renew, to live new life in new body, in new circumstances, to start another circle. So I agree with you. I think that the nature is wise enough already. But anyway, humanity strives for this long life. It dreams about it. And I just try to understand for what. Will humanity be happy if they live longer? I'm not sure. What about you?
I have observed this 80 years old boys using Viagra, having girlfriends in their 40s or 50s, driving expensive sport cars and just refusing to live the old age lives. In our Western world, it's very, very well known thing. like whatever we do, I think we will still face the problem of this world, that actually everything is purposeless. Nothing that we do is important enough. Like I've heard recently those thoughts that nothing will left if, for example, human race would disappear today. In number of million years, it will be very difficult to detect anything from our civilization. And in a billion years, there won't be nothing, because the Earth crust is going to be recycled all the time. The tectonic plates, they collide. One is going beneath into magma, and the new ones are growing from the magma. And in billion years, there will be very limited parts of the Earth crust that would be original, dating back to our times, not much of them. So everything will be eliminated. So there's nothing that we have strongly able to bring to this world. It's all in our imagination. And whatever our achievements are, whatever we do, even the entire life on our planet or entire life of the universe as a whole, all those concepts, they are way corrupted, because the world, in the way it is built, is irreparable, unbearable, and very badly designed. And there is a question whether we want to continue to participate in this visible part of the world, taking account that probably the afterlife is no better or even worse. And the absence of afterlife is probably a blessing rather than the curse. But I suspect there is no such option not to exist. We are forced into existence, and nobody's going us to go. And when you're talking about the kids, that's what we cooperate with this cruel nature, God or whatever, and bring in more members to this suffering and useless existence. So
at the beginning, we force people to live, giving them birth. After that, they force them to live longer in order to suffer longer.
For now, I don't have to have a strong opinion about everything. That's the relief, okay? I don't know whether it's good or not. I look at these people, they're considerably healthy. They don't look very ugly. They are old, but they don't look that badly old. They have nice women besides them. They are capable as men because of the medication. They have enough money, and they enjoy their lives. And I wouldn't say that they gravely suffering. There are some people in the West that live like that, and they're pretty old. On the other hand, there are a lot of people that are quite suffering from the diseases and old age and despair. Our inability, like we have eliminated this glue that we called love. Love was an illusion, but this illusion was used as a glue to connect us to our lives, to our native countries where we were born. When we replaced love with calculations, with being rational, so-called, everything has lost its purpose. There is no eternal love anymore. There is no real dedication to anything. Our new generation even doesn't want to understand it. Our psychologists call it toxic relationship, interdependency. So love has been called a disease. And that's how it is understood by the younger generation. It's already deep in their consciousness. And worst of all, we have accepted that by ourselves. There are very few who have survived with their old school values. And it's a very serious transformation because this illusion was here for thousands of years. And we have lost this illusion. And when we lost this illusion, I mean love, we have lost the purpose of life. And that's bad. If this man has someone to love for these 500 years, all of the same, because love cannot be exchangeable. The eternal love can be just eternal, right? Then yes, let them live. Let them live 500 years, 1,000 years, billion years. Because this illusion of love is something that indisputably beautiful and has purpose within itself. But without love, without this illusion, there's no way even to live another 5 years, not 500.
It seems that right now you told us a sense of human life. Is it so?
Excuse me?
Is love is a sense of human life?
I admit that it's an illusion, but this illusion is very strong, which actually has given the power of existence and some sense to the existence in this world. And now when it has been called a disease and psychological dysfunctional state of mind, the life has lost its purpose altogether. Yes. I'm not the first one who is saying that, because why Christianity has said that God is love, why Dante has said that love is moving everything around, right? There was something in this, but it has been thrown away. Maybe it happened in previous ages too, right? Maybe at one point or another, humanity will realize that and will start bringing it back. But I think that it's a major problem. Even though I do admit it's an illusion, but this illusion is absolutely necessary for life to be meaningful.
I agree.
You do?
And I strongly support this idea of love.
Excellent. Thank you so much for bringing up this topic. Thank you.
Thank you very much.